Alright, hey y'all, last time we were playing inside of Unreal Engine, we were hooking a little friendly message up so that when we walked into a certain area, a little helpful message will pop up and help us along our way. So now we want to do something a little more physical with that collision. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop over here to our friendly message that we have. Everything that we need for our next part is kind of already here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of the friendly message. I'm going to right click on it. And we're going to go to duplicate, and now what I want to do is create BP drop bridge, or we can just call it bridge. Yeah, we'll just call it bridge. And what we'll want to do is go into our bridge, and now we want to get rid of these pieces because we're not going to be using these. What we are going to need, though, we don't need a text renderer. We can keep the collider box, that's fine. But one thing we're going to need to add is a cube, like a mesh cube, so that we can turn that into our bridge. And then we'll need something else here in just a second. I want to show you why first, but I'm going to go ahead and put that back. And the cube, which I should rename, I'm just going to click on that one more time so we can change the name. I'm going to call it bridge. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to have that bridge just on the edge of this collision box so that when our player walks up to it, then they'll be hitting this side. They won't really hit the other side to get it to drop because, well, they'll need to be on this side. So let's go ahead and expand this out to our length we want it to be and about the width so our character can walk across. Okay, now one thing I want you to recognize is the pivot point for this gizmo on our bridge is right dead center in the middle. So usually draw bridge or drop bridge or something you're going to put out over an area isn't going to spin in the middle, it's going to spin at one of the ends. So what I want to do is I need to make it so my bridge will drop down on one side. So to do that, what I want to do is I'm going to get the bridge rotating with something else guiding it. So what I'll do is I'm going to go up here to the add. I'm going to go to a cylinder. Okay, so just another mesh that we can add in here. And I have it on its side right now. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. So it's on its side, about 90 degrees. Let's make sure we got 90 degrees there. Good. And then I want to expand it out to be the same width as the bridge. And I think I can see an issue possibly where I might not be able to see my cylinder different from my bridge. So I'm going to go back to my bridge and I'm going to change it into something. Maybe they've got a wood feel in here. Nope. How about stone? Maybe a stone one or rock. Anything? No. Okay. Now we're gonna have to get creative. Let's see what we got here. We could have a metal one. Sure. Let's do a metal one. Okay. And then we could make the hinge be another color here. So let's just pick something that kind of grabs our eye very easily. Something red would be cool. Okay, the heat map material should work. Okay, so this is going to be our hinge right here. And when we have this thing lay down flat like this, this is where we want it to end up. Okay, so let's take a look. The cylinder is what we're going to use to give the bridge its rotation. Now, right now, the hierarchy for this is wrong because what's going to happen if we rotate the cylinder, then it's just going to rotate on its own. If we rotate the bridge, it'll try and rotate the cylinder to go along with it. And also the bridge will rotate right here. We don't want the bridge to rotate here. That's why we're attaching the cylinder on. So we can use the rotation of the cylinder. So to make it the boss, basically, we have to put it up a little higher in the hierarchy. So I'll put the cylinder on top of the bridge. I just clicked and dragged it on top. And then I'm going to take the bridge and I want to drag that on top of the cylinder. So now the bridge is basically underneath the cylinder. It's looking to the cylinder for anything it wants to do. For example, one thing about that is going to be if I decide to resize it. So let's see, if I go to the cylinder and I go to resize, let's say if I go here, notice it doesn't really respond the same way. If I squish it in, the cylinder goes in tighter. If I do the bridge by itself though, the bridge doesn't have to make the cylinder do anything. But if I move the cylinder, the bridge is going to respond. Okay, so first off, let's see. This is going to be our bridge flat out where we want it to end up. Okay, so as far as location, we're not too concerned about that. But as far as the rotation, that's something we want to worry about. So we're looking at the cylinder's rotation. We don't care about the bridge at this point. As long as we have the bridge in the position we like it in, then we can go to the cylinder itself. And actually, I think I want to blow that thing up a little bit. Yeah, okay, that looks fine. And what I'm going to do is rotate it. Now, it's going to rotate right here on what is really the Y right here. We're going to grab the Z handle, but it's rotating on the Y. Okay, so we want it to be right about there. Let's say 70. Okay, so notice the Y is the only thing that's turning right now. Okay, then we're going to lay it out flat, so we put it to Z, but our X is staying at 90. Okay, so I'm going to pull it back up to where I want it to be, so about 70, let's say 75. So I'm going to need to have 75 on the Y, this is where we're starting, and 90 on the X right there, and then we're going to flatten it out to a 0 on the Y. So let's go to the event graph. We've already got this stuff set, so it'll drop the bridge right here. Okay, so let's just grab our cylinder. That's the thing that we're going to rotate. We're going to drag off of that, and we're going to get relative rotation. We want to get relative rotation because we want it to rotate in rotation to it, or relative to itself, not to the world. Otherwise, it's going to end up going in a real crazy move. So we want to go for set relative rotation. Now we need something to inform it how to move through this. So to do that, we're going to add a timeline. Okay, add timeline. There we go. And this one's going to be raise, lower, bridge. Okay, and then once we double click on this, it's going to take us to another little screen here. This is going to be where we can create the track that our timeline is going to follow. So a timeline, what it can do is it can take a multiple series of values, and it'll slowly and just very nicely, smoothly go through all those values. So right here at 0, we're going to have it start at a certain value. Let's go ahead and set the time. It's going to be 0. And let's see where we want it to start. I think we want to have it start right here. We're going to look at the cylinder, and the cylinder says it's going to start at 75. Okay, so we want to have this first keyframe right here. All I did was right click on this line, go to add key to curve float. That makes another little keyframe right there. But this first one, I'm going to click on that, and the value is supposed to be 75. Okay, now the next one right here, I need it to go to, right now this thing runs for about 5 seconds, so I'm going to lower it down to 3. I want to change this time to 3. This is where I want it to end up. And then the value on this is going to be 0. So if I go to these little arrows right here, we can see the entire run of values. And what we'll get is a new track when we go out to the event graph right here. See new track 0. Now, probably a good idea to change the name of this. So right click there, rename, and we'll call this raise lower. Just call it that, real easy. And we'll go back to the event graph. Notice it's changed to raise and lower. Now, this is a float. And then over here, the thing that we're going to try and plug it into, currently that's a rotator. But the nice thing is that a rotator is a struct. A struct is a type of variable that has several variables inside of it. It has X, Y, and Z, these other rotations inside there. So if we want to split this out, we just right click on it, split struct pin, and now we can interact with the float values for each of these rotators. So we're only going to be messing with the Y. However, the X is already set. So let's go back to our viewport and check that. The cylinder starts off at 90 on the X and stays there. So we want to make sure that our value right here on X starts off at 90. And we can leave Z at 0 since currently it doesn't really change at all as we're going through that. All right. So let's go back to our event graph. The only thing we're missing right here right now is the execution pins are not hooked up. Okay, we're going to do this bottom part here in just a second. Let me go ahead and hit compile, and let's drag this into the level, and let's take a look at it. Okay, I think I'm going to put it out here. I guess it just depends on how big this thing really is. Let's go ahead and drag it in. Oh, it's huge. Okay, so this thing could just go almost anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and spin it around. Okay, it's always a good idea to kind of see if this is really the type of bridge you might need. Obviously, this one's pretty large, so you probably want to scale it down some. but I'll go ahead and put it right there. And then the box right here is what we're going to run into for this to drop to the ground and probably hit that other island over there pretty easily. Let's go ahead and try it out. Okay, hit play, go over here, and I'm going to collide with that collider for the bridge, and I'll just walk right over. There we go. Whoop, oh, and then I died. Yep, but I popped right back. Okay, so that will make the bridge lower. If we want the bridge to come back up when we leave that space, it's not too difficult. We just go right back into here. One nice feature about a timeline is that it also has other controls on this side. So this one plays. This one will play from the start. So always, whenever you start this, it'll play from the very beginning. Play can play from whatever point it's at as it's traveling along those series of values. Stop can actually make it just wherever it's at. It just stops movement completely. Reverse will reverse it from wherever it's at as it's moving. So if you need a door to be able to kind of pull back without opening all the way, that's the way to do it. And then of course reverse to end, which would go all the way to the end and then start playing backwards. In our case, we just want it to reverse from wherever it's at. So if we get out of that area to drop the bridge, then it'll start right back up instead of going all the way back to the end and then reversing. So if you want to play with that a little bit, just play with those pins when you have a little time and you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play. And we hooked that up. Let's go ahead and see how this is doing. Here's our bridge. Hey, there it goes down. I'm going to walk out of the space and it starts coming back up. Okay, so notice also once I got out of the bridge, like once I got away from that trigger box, it started coming back up. So if I stay right there, this might be a feature you want to try and work into a puzzle or something. So you could see if they can get over to the other. Hey, there we go. See, that was kind of a tough one to do. Of course, now I can't get back. So I'm in some hot water there. All right, so that'll help you out with making something physical work alongside with a collision. One thing you want to make sure you're taking into account as you're working with these kind of collisions is that your collider right here has the collision set for overlap. Okay, like this right here. That overlap will make it so it's sending information. If you have it on block, that means it will keep a player or other meshes from falling through it or passing through it, like our bridge has right here. Our bridge has block. And then if you want it to show up on screen, but you don't need it to interact with anything, you don't need it to block anything, then you can set that for ignore. But most of the time, a lot of our things are set for overlap or block. Okay. All right, hopefully that helps you out and gives you some idea of how to make some new things for your level, and we'll see you in another tutorial.